Hi, my name is Leslie Swann, Leslie Paylor Swann. I am 41 years old, and I'm currently the minister of music at New Ephesus Baptist Church in Samora, North Carolina. And one way that I have been able to give back to the community of Person County is through being a church musician / minister of music. I say about my third or fourth grade, I expressed to my mom, I wanted to learn how to play the piano. Little did I know that was a lifetime desire of herself. And so she was totally excited about it. And we called around, well, she called around, I was just third grade, so I was letting the parents handle that. But we called around and we came across Bertha Whitted. Bertha Whitted is the wife of the late Fred Whitted from Hester Whitted and Day Funeral Home. And so she called and they arranged something. And I'll never forget, my piano lessons were always on Mondays at 4 o'clock, right after school. Miss Whitted, she taught me how to read, sight read. And so that's how my journey began. I remember being very, very excited about it, learning how to play the piano. One thing that I wasn't expecting that Miss Whitted saw in me early on is that she noticed that I had a niche for classical music. And you know, she stayed giving me something from Mozart, Beethoven, and I'm just like, okay, this is cool. And then about a couple of years in, I expressed to Miss Whitted, I was like, Miss Whitted, I really want to play in church. Because I grew up in church from day one. A lot of people in my home church, somebody probably changed my pamper, fed me, did something. But I'm a member of Old Mount Zion Baptist Church, and I remember being at church, and my mom and dad, they sung in the mixed choir. Never forget it. Burgundy robes, white print, OMZ right on the right side. And they would have these choir anniversaries, and they used to have two parts. They'd have it out there Saturday, probably start around 5 o'clock or so. We might be out there at about, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then we'd turn around and do it all over again on Sunday at 3 o'clock. And then we'd still be out there at about 8:30 at night. But what I remember the most and what I took joy in, I didn't take joy in staying out there so long, but what I took joy in was the music. All the different musicians. It was like every group that came up, we had to stop for a minute. Musicians had to switch out, drummers had to switch out, guitarists had to switch out amps, switch out mics, everything. But the music was ministering to me. And I just remember wanting to do that. I remember sitting at choir rehearsals with my parents and, different musicians, such as Reverend Jacqueline Smith. She's played for Old Mount Zion before. Vaughn Timmons, who's no longer with us, he played for Old Mount Zion before. And the list goes on. Even Cynthia Cash Dixon, she played for Old Mount Zion at one time. And it mesmerized me how a musician could come in, just pick people up wherever they were. Sometimes they didn't even know what key they were in. And they would just come in, pick people up, and just go, teaching different parts, soprano, alto, tenor, and just make magic happen right there in the choir stand. And so being that age, and seeing that talent and witnessing it firsthand, I was like, I want to do that. That's something that I want to do. And I had to step back because at that time, we weren't singing Mozart and Beethoven. And so I went to Miss Whit and I was like, well, I want to play more church music. I mean, I would really love to hopefully play in church one day. And she started working with me with the hymnal. And it was almost a conflict of interest because I could say, this is my church. Oh, Mount Zion, we didn't touch the hymnal a lot when I was growing up. We sung a lot of old spiritual songs that some might say, well, our ancestors come up with that, but they ministered as well. And we had a thing for remixing the hymnal. Didn't sing it exactly the way that it was written, but we knew what we were singing and we went with it. So my mom, she was like, I'm gonna help you out. And Cynthia was playing for us. She was just playing for us 2 Sundays out the month. I think it was first and third, or it might have been second and fourth. Anyway, she was playing for us 2 Sundays out the month. Because over Mount Zion, at one time, we only went to church one Sunday, just second Sunday. That was it. And so, just through different leaderships, we incorporated an extra Sunday. And then the next thing you know, we went to 4 Sundays. And actually, that's how Cynthia ended up leaving on Mount Zion, because Clegg's Chapel, her home church, they went to all 4 Sundays. So she went there full time every Sunday. And so before that transition, like right before that transition, and I always say God knows what to do. Right before that, my mom went to Cynthia and was like, do you mind working with Leslie? She really wants to play church music and learn how to play by ear. Because like I said, that was mesmerizing to me, that you can sit there and just ding, 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 pick them up and run with it. Even to the point where you don't even play for this group, but you were able to come in, pick this group up and go. And so she started working with me. And I tell you, that was the best time ever, because she really, really trained my ear. I didn't know I was capable of doing some of the stuff that she had me working on. And what a lot of people may not know about me in particular is I am deaf in my right ear. Gone to the doctor, tried to get hearing aids, tried to get everything, and nothing. So I'm deaf in my right ear. I can only hear out my left ear. And that's why I'm so grateful and thankful to God, because I know this was a gift that He placed in my lap. Because my kids get on me all the time, Ma, you can't hear nothing. Or I have to ask to repeat 2-3 times. But when I get behind that keyboard, or I get behind that piano and somebody takes off singing, I hear clear as a bell. So I'm very thankful to God for that gift. I recognize it as a gift, and I don't take it lightly. And so Cynthia trained me. I mean, sometimes our piano lessons were she'd take off singing until I found the key. That would be our piano lesson. That was it. She'd go from one song to the next song to the next song. And I'm so appreciative of that, because one thing about playing in church, I mean, it's all walks of life. There's all different tones. There's different sounds. No one person sounds the same. And that same person may not sound that way next week. So it's forever, it's ever evolving when you're playing for church. And so that's what our lessons kind of consisted of. She sung until I got it. Was it a struggle? Yes, it was definitely a struggle. Not just because of my disability of hearing in my right ear, but I wanted it so bad. And it was just like, at some points I was just like, I'm not gonna get this. It's like, why can't I hear this? I would hear a tone within the chord that she was singing. I didn't hear the key itself. I might hear a part of it. And that got frustrating and got frustrating. And when that transition happened and everybody started, because it was like a wave almost. It seemed like everybody's churches was going to 4 Sundays. And so she had to stop playing for us. And the administration at the time wanted to start a youth choir at Old Mount Zion. And Cynthia, I think she played for our first anniversary, our very first one. And I was like one of the oldest kids there. But even then I was like, 12, 13, maybe 14, I'm not sure. But she played for our first anniversary and we got started. And then that wave happened. And everybody started going to 4 Sundays. And I remember the youth advisors talking like, well, what are we gonna do? Cynthia was playing for us, now she's gone to Clegg's full time. Like, we need somebody to play. And Libra helped us out some. And it was just like a light bulb clicked off at some point, and it was like, well, Leslie, what can you do? And I was like, not much, nervous as all get out. I remember calling Cynthia some Sunday mornings before church. Hey, we got to sing this song. Can you give me the chords right quick? Because just nervous. And I did that quite often. If it was a song that the choir wanted to sing and I wasn't sure how to play it, I would call them like, hey, look, I need some help. Can you help me with this song? And I remember the board was like, okay, you're doing great with the youth choir. We're just going to let you work with the youth choir. And, I was like, okay, I thought I was doing something. They was cutting me a little check. It wasn't much, but it was a lot at the time for a teenager. So, I was happy. I was playing for the youth choir. And I hold the youth choir very dear to my heart because that's where we started. That's where I started. And our Old Mount Zion Youth Choir, at one point, we were so big in the community. We were getting invited to go sing everywhere. Sometimes 2-3 services on a Sunday. We'd sing that morning, then we have an anniversary we go to at 3, and then the other choir, another invitation was at 3 too. We'd leave there, we'd hurry up, get number 1, get number 2, leave there, go to the next church, sing there too. And being a teenager and ripping and running like that, we weren't thinking about it. We were tired, but we had old school parents like, look, you getting in this choir, you gonna sing. And I better not see you sitting up there acting like you don't want to sing. We had those mamas that they come up in choir stand and get us. Didn't think twice about it. Or call us out. You know how they give you them eyes in church. Oh yeah, we got them. Oh, you gonna sing today. And it was a beautiful thing because we were supported by our parents. We were supported by the church. We were supported by the community. We were well known in the area. Something youth related, we were in there. And it was after that, it was another choir at our church, L.A. Brooks Choir. I remember the president at the time was the pastor now, Clyde Glass. He was the president of the choir at the time. And they came to me and was like, hey, you think you can play for us next Sunday? And I was like, yeah, I guess I can. I was trying to be obedient. It was they told me to just play for the youth choir. So, this other choir that asked me to play. Back on the phone with Cynthia, I went. I went to choir rehearsal, and I remember calling her. I said, hey, look, these are songs they trying to say. Can you help me out? Some of them I was trying to pick up, still trying to use what she had taught me, trying to pick up by ear. And still calling her, getting her to help. And so I made it through that Sunday. And I was like, okay, God, like what's going on here? And so as time progressed, it was like I was playing every Sunday. And I was like, oh boy, because my schedule was crazy, because I had I started like playing quite frequently every Sunday around my high school year, when I first started high school, 95, 96. But when I went to high school, I was still in Girl Scouts. I was in marching band. I participated with the basketball team. I was a team manager. I actually took the books. And so at the game, so it was just like I was ripping and running. And then it was like my weekends, choir rehearsal. Sunday, I was at church. And so it kind of picked up. It definitely kind of picked up from there. And man, like I said, I remember like being in choir rehearsals like all day Saturday. Like we would start maybe around 10. I'll practice with one choir for about an hour. Then I'd bring in the next choir for about another hour. I might take me a little break, and then we'd go from there. And even when I went off to college, I drove back. I went to UNC Greensboro, but I drove back every weekend to play. And it was the same setup. Saturdays, I would come in Friday nights, Friday evening, Saturday morning, I was back up at Old Mount Zion with choir rehearsal. Sunday morning, I was there for church. Get done with church, mom cook a dinner, or we go grab something to eat at Golden Corral or wherever, and then I'd pack up, back to school I went. I remember the administration at the time, Pastor Marcus Van, he was the pastor at the time. I remember him coming to me when I got ready to graduate, and he said, so Leslie, he said, what do you want to do? He said, do you want to continue playing here on Sundays? He was like, or do you want to just focus on school? And I don't even think I really thought about it. I quickly was like, oh, I'm gonna keep playing here. I didn't think anything about it, because that's what I wanted to do. That was my desire. I was where I wanted to be, as far as teaching the choirs, singing along with the choirs. I was where I wanted to be. I knew that was a gift God gave me. And the Bible speaks of, if you don't use that talent, if you don't use that gift that God give you, and you put it on the shelf, He'll take it away. And being a musician, being a church musician, was that dear to me that I didn't want to lose it. I had worked hard to get to where I was. He's put me in this position. And so that's kind of where I was. That's where my headspace was. And so I was able to continue doing that. A lot of wear and tear on my car, a lot of missed parties and other events, a lot of homecomings that I missed because I had fall revival to go to. And I thank God for my parents, because coming through high school, oh, you're not going to that basketball game. We got church. Or, well, now you're gonna have to tell that football. You're gonna tell that band director you're not coming to the football game, because we got to go sing. And I even said, I'm not gonna do my kids like that. When I get old and have kids, if they want to go here, they want to go there, I'm just gonna let them go. But as I developed a more closer relationship with God, and I understood some things that I didn't understand when I was younger, I get it. And I'm thankful for that, because like I said, it's a lot of sacrifices to be made, but God has kept me through it all. Have I got frustrated? Oh yes. Have I gotten discouraged? Oh yes. It's a task. It's definitely a task to participate in a leadership role such as church musician. It's not for the weak. You deal with all walks of life, and you you deal with those church members that they want to sing their song, and if they don't sing their song, then hey, we got a problem. And I mean, you have to deal with that. It's like all different attitudes and stuff like that. So it's a task like bringing people together and encouraging and getting them on one accord to make one sound. Like I said, it's not for the weak. Not going to agree on everything. It may not sound good all the time. But one thing that I've done over the years, as I gotten closer to God, one thing that I've done over the years, I remind my choirs, I remind my praise team, like, we got to remember who we're singing to. We got to remember why we're singing. Be conscious of what we're singing, because there's some music out there like God gets no glory. It's just a nice hook, nice beat, and boom. Unfortunately, sometimes it sells millions, but where is God in that? And so as I've ministered through music and through song, that's one thing that I stress. I stress that because music is ministry as well. And my views on church musician, minister of music sets the tone for worship service. We have to, as musicians, we have to be aware of our surroundings during worship service, or any service for that matter. We have to be aware of our surroundings. And I'm not saying like a physical surrounding, like, you go to the club, you got to make sure where the exit's at in case something jump off. Not that type of awareness, that spiritual awareness that's there. How is the spirit flowing? And being in tune with that, it makes your job easier. And I say that because if you're in tune with the Spirit, you're in tune with God. And God will allow and God will move. He'll allow you to see things. He'll show you things as a church musician / minister of music. He will show you things. He'll give you that direction doing programs. It doesn't have to be worship service. It could just be a regular afternoon service. It could be a missionary program. But in all things, we have to recognize God in the midst of it all. And so I always tell that to my praise team ministry. When I was working with choirs, I'm like, hey, look, we really need to be conscious of what we're singing, why we're singing, who we're singing to. And that it's just very, very, very important. And like I said, even when you're singing, I tell them sometimes, I'm like, look, just stop for a minute. Think about God's goodness. Like, think about where He's brought you from, and use that energy to move forward and sing. It makes a difference. I work with people that have been nervous to get up and sing, nervous to even get up and join a choir. And so it's just like to see them blossom, to see them to develop by just encouraging them. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I give God the glory for that, because, you don't know how God's going to use you. But if you're in the right place, God will move. And so that just being where I wanted to be, I always remember that. This is where I wanted to be. I sing and play. I haven't always been able to do both. I went through a period where I could only play it. It was a trick. It was kind of tricky. Like, how am I going to sing and play? Because I'm still trying to focus on where to put my fingers at. How in the world am I going to remember a song at the same time? And I just found, like, through my walk, like, just ask God and he'll make it happen for you. If the desire is there, the Bible speaks of delighting yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you and grant you the desires of your heart. And I knew that much about me. That was in my heart to play. That was in my heart to sing. Love to sing. I used to get picked on all the time. I still do. Like, you sing your songs too long. And I always be like, hey, you don't know my story. I mean, sometimes it might take that 6-7 minutes, you know. And I joke, I chuckle, but I'm serious. You know, I really am serious about that. I have leaned on God this entire time. I can say that this entire time, even when I thought I had it under control. He had a way of, and he has a way of reminding me, hey, look, I got this. You just keep doing what you're doing. I got this. So that's a joy of mine, like doing workshops. I participated with NAACP with their youth group under the leadership of Ava Lester. And we started taking off and traveling, just working with kids, because they're at that age, the age that I had, they were at that age. Like, you know what, you can really impact the community just by singing. I say, you never know who's going to get touched. You never know who's going to get moved by us singing. It may be that one song. We may have sung 9, but on song 10, someone got delivered. Someone got healed. Someone got saved. And so that's why I always come back to it. Music really sets the tone for any setting of worship. And that's what I hold dear to my heart as a church musician.